DestinyComics.com proudly presents the following podcast.
Okay,
loud noises!
starting with the left,
Sounds like a song.
yeah. Introduce yourself for the new listeners, and then this time tell them what you do: writer, editor, artist.
Oh, cool. Okay. My name is Luis Lopez. I'm a writer in the 8-bit pulp. I do writing here and there, short stories. I do comic scripts. Yeah, I have fun.
That's awesome.
Michael Sanders, I'm a writer / poet for the 8-bit pulp.
I'm Brandon Noel, chief publisher, head of the company, co-founder of the company, artist, writer.
We're going to be here a while, kids.
Yeah,
Yada, yada, yada.
yeah, etc., etc., etc.
Maylene Macias, writer for the pulp, editor, and photographer for the pulp.
Morale booster for the chief editor, by the way.
Woo!
Yeah.
Go, you can do it!
Well, I had to give her title of chief editor. I live with her.
And we'll be married in a week, so
Yeah.
And that would make you what, chief science officer?
She's like, yes, sir, his first week of marriage is on the couch.
Right?
And, well, you're at the table with Destiny.
The first topic that I really wanted to bring up, because no one's covering it, and it really bothered me, because a couple of weeks prior to this, DC killed Damian Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
Character's been around for 3 years. No,
They're really wanting to hurt Batman, by the way.
Yeah.
He's a very beloved character, and I admittedly really liked the idea and what they did with it.
I thought he was a douche at first.
Yeah, I think that's what worked. But they killed Damian Wayne, and there was all this news coverage, from CNN's covering comic book stuff and stuff like that. And then they killed.
Kevin Smith blocked out 5 minutes of his blog, of his podcast for it, even.
Yeah.
He's like, you can't listen to this till next week.
Yeah, so I mean, they kill Damian Wayne, and there's all this news, and then they kill Catwoman, and it's kind of like
nothing.
Radio silence. No one's talking about
He
it.
loved her for how long?
Well, the character goes back to the early 40s. I want to say 41.
Yeah, about 41.
Well, speaking as someone who doesn't necessarily know, just how beloved was Catwoman?
She never went away.
There are hundreds of Batman characters that didn't make it. Characters.
They revamped and sent away Mr. Freeze several times.
Oh yeah.
They've sent him away a lot. Catwoman has never really been sent away. She's been redone, and her story changed a little bit from time to time, but she's always been there.
Yeah, every time they reboot the universe, there's a new take on Catwoman. And I like the new 52 Catwoman. I thought what they were doing was kind of interesting.
She was neat. The new 52 Catwoman was really neat. I was enjoying her.
It was basically, she as a character didn't change from what they were doing previously. It was just...
She was still really flamboyant and had way bad innuendos for cats.
Yeah.
You mean they all worked perfect?
Perfect.
Perfect.
The characters... the character's been around forever, and several different actresses have played her, and...
I'm just throwing this out there. Worst Catwoman, Eartha Kitt. I'm sorry, I did not like her.
I liked Eartha Kitt.
Wait, hang on, better than Halle Berry?
Yeah, Halle Berry was trying to be Eartha Kitt.
Yeah.
I never said I liked her either.
Oh, okay.
But
I just said...
between the two, you still think Eartha Kitt's worse?
No. If it came down to those two, I would give Halle Berry the bullet.
See, I gotta go Michelle Pfeiffer. I loved her.
She was
pure
amazing.
psychotic take on
Oh,
it.
it was great.
Amazing.
I wasn't keen how she became Catwoman.
Well, yeah, that was a little weird.
But she was really good. I just like how she just has that, I don't care, she's like, meow.
Yeah.
She's I'm not even trying to be a cat.
She had I'm kind of sexy, but then you're a little afraid of me at the same time.
Yeah, that was the problem with the Halle Berry film, was it was supposed to be a sequel for the Batman Returns. It was supposed to be the spin-off. That's when the script was developed.
Really?
So that's why the Catwoman had powers, and it just went from changes to changes to changes, and it was just that movie was so bad. It never should have been made.
That's not even a niche movie. That's just a should have never happened.
Yeah.
Never should.
Let me say it now. That movie happened, and we let it happen.
Yeah. I don't know why.
It was so bad I wanted to drown my dog.
Nobody stepped up.
Well, the thing is, Catwoman, I was okay with Halle Berry's casting because Halle Berry has a Emmy for playing a whore.
Yeah, it's true.
Catwoman's early origins in Catwoman #1, she was a
Prostitute.
prostitute who turned to crime to get away from prostitution.
And there are times when Halle Berry was a pretty damn good actress.
Yeah.
I mean, she's very
When she
impressive
played Storm, I
sometimes.
thought that she was just really making those clouds. She was that good.
Well, Storm, she was. I hate to say it, she's set dressing.
Yeah.
She was.
She's not. She's not Storm.
Yeah.
No, she
And
was set dressing. The last movie,
We
I think
shouldn't
they
even
really
talk
let her-
about X-Men 3.
Yeah.
the last one, I had a lot of problems with it, but her performance, honestly, to me, it stepped up from the first two. And she was they were actually letting her develop her own Storm instead of like, this is what she does.
Well, I think somebody needed to give her comic books to just like, this is the character.
Yeah.
You know, like this is, you know.
Because we all can't be Hugh Jackman and just come and be like, this is the character, got it.
Got it. Yeah.
Do we know if she was actually familiar with Storm at all? Like,
No.
No.
Okay.
I don't think anybody that did the X-Men movies, I don't think they actually knew comics.
What's his name? Patrick
Stewart?
Stewart. He.
Oh, if he loved comics, I will switch.
Well,
I will switch to Next Generation on fandom right now.
Well, here's
Janeway can sit in the Delta Quadrant. I don't care.
Here's a little. If you can, it's kind of hard to get out there, but there's a whole novel series, X-Men Next Gen crossover, Star Trek X-Men Next Gen, and the novels.
What?
Yeah, the novels came out long before they made the first X-Men film. I got it after the first X-Men film, and so I'm reading the novel, and I'm just picturing Picard
Talking to.
you know, it's one of Patrick.
It's one of those horrible mirror scenes.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Why
Picard's
do
like-
you look like me?
But they play it together, and he's like, Picard's like, this is my ancestor.
Just stand up. I can't.
So
I crippled you, ninny.
But he actually said the studio sent him a crate of comic books, and he said it was the best research he ever had to do for any role.
Nice.
Next Generation fan right here. All about Picard. I'm shaving my
I've
head.
always been Next Gen myself. Next Gen and then kind of Voyager, too.
Well, Voyager was my mainstay. I loved Voyager, and then I had Next Gen right next to it.
I grew up at Next Gen, you know, and no offense to the original stuff, it just that's what was on in my house.
That's what it was for me, too, actually.
Yeah.
My mom would
That's how it was
record them on
with
VHS.
That's how
I
it
was
was
about to say
with
right now
Voyager.
that the reason why I
Because
never
Next Gen was
watched
way
any
younger.
Star Trek stuff as a kid was because I actually played outside.
When I was
Believe it or
in
not, I
sunlight.
played outside because when I watched it, I always watched the last week's rerun and the late showing, like late at night.
Mm.
And my mom would be like, okay, after Star Trek, you have to go to sleep.
But like getting back to Catwoman.
Yeah, after we just totally
Segue.
Damn you, Halle Berry.
She derails everything.
I would love to see that as a meme. Damn you,
Yeah.
Halle
Halle Berry.
Just a picture of the Catwoman costume.
Berry. Anytime something goes wrong, damn you,
Damn
Halle
it,
Berry.
Catwoman.
all over Tumblr.
But it was the character's been around forever, much beloved.
Oh, yeah.
My personal favorite costume from the comics was she had it was her first revamp, and they drew her in this green like this green dress and a purple cape.
Oh, I remember that
Oh,
one.
I remember seeing that.
You know, it was this like she was like this lounge singer kind of thief thing, and it just
I
it
wasn't
worked.
super crazy about that, though. I wasn't super crazy about the costume, but it did look neat.
Yeah.
My first Catwoman, the first time I ever was introduced was during the 90s cartoon with...
Oh, the Tim Burton.
Oh, the grayish costume.
The gray,
Yeah.
which was so
To me-
smart because at the time in the comics, the Jim Blunt Catwoman was the one that was, and it was a purple skin tight outfit.
Yeah.
And Jim Blunt, he now draws tarot, which is basically the same female forms except without the costume.
Yeah.
It's just a TNA book.
Yeah, because that was my first Catwoman, and I saw her in that gray costume and it had the black like forehead thing above her eyes, and every time I saw her, I just immediately thought Siamese cat.
Yeah.
And it just worked for me, and I just thought, like, okay, she looked neat, but at the same time, it's like, you are dangerous.
And she also had a Siamese cat as a pet in the comic.
Yeah, her cat
cartoon
Isis.
as well.
Isis, yeah.
Cat Isis.
Yeah.
Yeah. That cat is, like, really old. That cat's like, 9 lives, 9 million, really. Coughs up dust. She won't let me die.
They just killed her in the comics, and
That was just the last issue.
Last week or the week before,
Justice League of America.
Yeah, Justice League number 4. And well, I never thought she should have been on Justice League.
Well, she's a criminal.
Yeah. Well, the idea is that they brought her in on number 1 because of Steve Trevor. He wanted her on the team. And the idea was, because the idea is Justice League of America is the Justice League team that America put together. America.
Hashtag America.
In case...
Pew, 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 America.
Well, it's right over there if you want to... No, we've read it. If you want to look at the panel.
I do.
If you want to see the death scene, it's actually kind of sad.
Yeah, but it's...
I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, it's...
oh, by the way, like, we should have said this way at the beginning, but spoilers.
Spoilers, yeah. Catwoman's dead. Sorry about
so
that.
many people are just like, damn it!
I had no idea.
I have 4
covering it on
issues.
CNN.
Yeah, I posted things on Facebook, and people are like, really? Like, this ain't a joke? You know? Like,
Yeah, like, I told somebody at work today.
Look at how it actually looks, too.
It's brutal.
Spoilers, like a headshot.
Yeah, shot in the face.
Damn.
Shot her right in the head. With a little gun, too.
It was a weird gun. Like, I still don't get...
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to shoot you, but you don't get the 45. You get the K9 thingy.
Yeah, and it's like... Yeah, it's like Paleface is the guy who does it.
No, right when I first saw it, I didn't think...
And I'm thinking Paleface is such a weak villain. Like, I mean... Like
but at first, like, the way he was standing looking at her, I immediately thought Joker, and then I was like, wait, no, that's not him.
That's what I thought, too, yeah.
Yeah, it's Paleface. It's not even Joker.
He's like a D-grade villain.
Yeah, like, you know, they're really reaching for the history with Justice League America, because the whole idea is the team...
They're the guys that, whenever the superheroes got really strong, they're like, let's just go live in the woods.
Yeah. Because they're the team that, you know, that the America put together in case the Justice League goes rogue. Like, this is America's own team of heroes.
I can see them taking out Superman and the Green Lantern and the Flash, but there's no way you're getting Batman.
Yeah.
I'm a Batman diehard player, and I'm not even talking about... Even if it was, like, Earth 1 Batman, and not even the Bat guy, like, he's just like, I can't make jumps, but you're not getting me.
So, the team is weird. I didn't like the casting of the team to begin with.
The fact that its Vibe is on there, it's like, no.
Vibe's such a weird character. I like
he's really obscure, honestly.
I like the reboot of his origin, but I mean,
what was the reboot on his origin?
It goes back to Justice League number 1, and in Justice League number 1, or it wasn't 1, it was like 3 or 4. The end of that first run with Jim Lee, where Darkseid attacks Earth.
Yeah,
and these boom tubes open up. Vibe was just some kid in Metropolis, and the boom tube opened up on him.
Oh.
And it vibrated his body out of sync with the rest of the world.
Okay, that's really cool.
So it's a smart origin for a really dumb character.
Oh yeah,
because the character
maybe putting him on this team, they're like, because Jeff Johns, he likes the underdogs. So he's like, if we put him on this team, we'll get awesome.
Well, the whole team is underdogs.
Oh yeah,
and Catwoman's being blackmailed onto the team.
Oh yeah,
because like she doesn't want to be there. And
is it just me? Or is the Green Arrow in this Justice League? Is that supposed to be Oliver Queen?
That's all.
He looks way too young.
Well, he's very young. He doesn't have the. I'm still my.
The Robin Hood. He needs to have the Robin Hood goatee.
Give him the goatee, a mustache, something.
Yeah, because
chops.
Because when I see
chops.
Next, he's British. They're like, you were raised in Star City. That's next to New York, and he's like, but Robin Hood's my hero. I need to sound like him. By the way, I like mutton now. That's why I grew the chops.
So it's just they need to do. I don't like what they're doing with Justice League. And the thing is, this.
How long do you think she's going to be dead?
Where's Ra's al Ghul?
Yeah, where's Ra's al Ghul? The pit. Here's the thing, though, because they're setting up their big summer event. This is 52's big first.
Isn't that the Trinity War?
Trinity War, It's Justice League versus Justice League of America versus Justice League Dark.
Constantine's just gonna be sitting back there smoking. He's like, "This sucks so bad. I'm giving myself cancer again."
Well, there's one image that I was like, "Oh, this is totally bullshit. I'm not going to buy it." One image sold me on the whole idea, and it's Billy Batson laying in a crater, all jacked up, and Constantine with the lightning striking his chest.
Oh.
And I was like, "You give Constantine Shazam's power, we're in trouble."
So many liquor stores are going to be out of cigarettes now.
Yep.
So, that was the one image.
Shazam, shouldn't you be using your powers for good? After I get my fix.
So, but this is my theory with the Trinity Wars coming up soon. My theory is Catwoman's going to be a ghost, which is going to bring in Justice League Dark.
I guess Dead Man
And all that stuff, because...
He starts hitting on her.
Hey!
He's like, he walks up, he's like, I've been dead for a while. None of the other ghost chicks want to sleep with me. and she's like, no.
Well, I love Deadman, and I love what they...
Oh, he's a great character.
What threw me for a loop when they... Because I picked up Hawk and Dove when 52, 2 years ago, when it first...
Didn't they make him fall in love with Dove?
Like, he had a relationship with Dove, yeah.
Because they made Dove a girl.
And, well, it wasn't the first time Dove was female.
Yeah. This is the first time for me in a while.
Yeah. But, it was weird because Deadman can possess people. And Deadman literally said, look, let me possess a guy and we can, fool around. and she's like, no, I'm not going to sleep with a stranger. It's me. It's me. You won't be sleeping with a stranger.
He's like, think about it. I could possess a really, really handsome guy. Every guy comes back with, she's like, that's a porn star. No way. Why?
You couldn't have found Ryan Gosling? I mean...
That Notebook guy? I don't think so. You saw the Notebook?
That Notebook douche.
That Notebook douche? You saw that? Nope.
And it did not make me cry.
And it did not make me cry ghost tears.
Manly ghost tears.
He just loved her so much.
He built that house for her.
He built the house and he loved her. Oh, and she doesn't remember him. He just falls to his knees crying.
So I honestly think Catwoman's going to be dead a total of 3 months.
You think, really, 3 months?
3 months.
I'm giving it 2 issues.
2 issues? You think they'll bring her back that fast?
DC and Marvel, the one thing they have in common is they don't leave people dead. Unless it's cancer.
Unless it's cancer. Well, Spider-Man, he's been dead for almost a year or so now.
Yeah. I'm sad about that, too.
In both universes.
He died. It was cancer. He was in Doc Ock's body. Doc Ock had cancer. He died in there. He's not coming back.
They need to make a superhero that fights cancer.
Fights cancer.
It's like
Cancer Man.
freaking Reed Richards and all the super geniuses of both worlds, really, of both universes, really. They're just like, we're super geniuses. We could solve any world problem within 22 pages. Cancer can wait. Because that's what killed the Captain Marvel in the Marvel universe, and he's still dead. It's his clone that came back.
Yeah.
So it's like, nope. That's the only weakness in those universes. Permadeath.
Marvel, yeah, that's good. Well,
that and getting shot while you're waiting to pick up your nephew while he's at a secret wrestling match. Poor Uncle Ben.
I love Uncle Ben.
May you rest in peace.
Yeah. Well, you can never bring Uncle Ben back because then it brings resolution.
That brings resolution to Peter Parker, and he's like, Uncle Ben's back! I'm not Spider-Man anymore.
Yeah, there's
Of
one...
course, with Doc Ock being the superior Spider-Man now, he could be like, Uncle Ben's back! Watch me kill this guy.
Did you see the series finale of the 90s Spider-Man cartoon?
The last episode I remember, and this might have been the end, I'm not sure, because I coined that I've seen it. It's whenever him and Madam Web, this last one I remember, is him and Madam Web going back into the multiverse to find the real Mary Jane.
Mm-hmm. That's how the series ended, because they thought there was going to be another season.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I was so mad when I didn't see any new episodes. I'm like, does he find her?
But there's in that episode, they travel to the universe where Spider-Man is successful and rich and has a giant robot.
He has the Iron Spider suit.
Which is one of my favorite costumes.
It's really cool.
I've only ever seen that suit in the show. I've heard he's had it in the comics.
He had it in the comics, but the thing is...
I've only ever seen it in the show, and Flash Thompson was nice to him. And he's like, hey, we're in the old suit. That's pretty great. And I'm like...
Yeah, I love Flash.
But at the same time, how did he... Because I never really figured out in that universe he got rich.
He probably sold the tech. I don't know. But
something.
anyway, in that episode, he's like, this is the only universe where he might still exist, and Uncle Ben's still alive.
Yeah. Well, he goes to the universe where Uncle Ben's still alive, and he brings him to the Parker that's been bonded to the Carnage symbiote.
Yeah.
And he's like, I brought somebody to talk to, and he's like, no, shut up, I'm gonna destroy everything. And all of a sudden Uncle Ben walks out, and he's like, son, what are you doing? And he's like, Uncle Ben! And he like completely snaps, and then he like, remember he kills himself. The black hole.
90s cartoons, gotta love them.
Yeah. He's like, Uncle Ben, you're alive, and also he's like, I must write this, and kills himself.
They were much more darker than you remember as a child.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've gone back and watched
great.
episodes of the Batman show, even the Superman show.
Oh yeah.
And they're like all those shows. I'm just like, I watched this.
How'd they get away with it?
Oh man, it was crazy. But I remember the very end of that episode where Spider-Man goes to the world where Spider-Man is a TV star.
Yeah.
And he meets Stan Lee. Because the one guy, he's like, I don't even know why I'm here. I don't have any powers. I'm an actor.
There was one. I love that.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm an actor, and he goes, oh, well, okay. And then he's like, could you do one thing for me? And he goes to the world where Stanley's like, Stanley, I'm Spider-Man, and he web slings with him.
I think Stan Lee has a joke or something at the end because Spider-Man leaves him on a roof, and he's just kind of sitting there and goes, maybe the Fantastic Four will give me a ride down. The Stan Lee stuck on the roof somewhere.
Yeah, just the different spiders they had, because I liked the Scarlet Spider. And then that was in that universe.
That was cool.
Because in his universe, they didn't just make a Mary Jane clone. They made a Peter Parker clone, too. And he escaped. And then it was actually his universe that had the Carnage Spider-Man.
Yeah,
because everybody was starting to like the Scarlet Spider. And so he got angry, and Spider-Man was getting angry, and then when the Carnage symbiote came back, he's like, you're full of hate.
That was the real thing that was a real series from the 90s, was the Clone Saga. And I remember a kid, like, man, there was so money-grubbing comics back then. But there was Amazing Spider-Man, and it'd be like Amazing Spider-Man A, and then Amazing Spider-Man B. So Amazing Spider-Man A was one Spider-Man, and Amazing Spider-Man B was the clone.
Which he ends up calling himself the Scarlet Spider.
The Scarlet Spider. And so, like, storyline-wise, the books took place at the exact same time, just from different
perspectives. Yeah. The Doc Ock Spider-Man.
Yeah, I had somewhere the first time they did that, and I loved it because Spider-Man didn't have a mask, and he wrapped toilet paper around his house. You know, it was like him, jeans, a t-shirt, and this, like, toilet paper mask thing.
He was dark, man.
He was.
He was straight up dark. Liam Neeson standing on a building with bandages around. You stole my bit.
So, any last words on Catwoman, the death of?
I'm wondering, because that you actually answered one of my questions I was going to ask was, where do you think they're going to go with this? And, like, how is this going to segue in? Because Pale Man actually says to her, after she's like, Batman will hunt you down. He's going to come for you if you kill me. And he's like, I count on it.
Yeah.
And then he kills her. So I'm just wondering, because also she says in the comic, location of the Batcave. So I'm thinking, my belief is that they're trying to trick the Justice League into thinking the Justice League of America is targeting them. And that's what's going to set off the Trinity War.
That might work.
How Justice League Dark gets put in, I don't know. Maybe Catwoman's ghost goes to Deadman for help.
That's what I'm thinking, but that might work because Justice League. Well, Jeff Jones is a great event writer.
Oh, he's wonderful.
He did the last main event, which was
Flashpoint, wasn't it?
Before Flashpoint, he did the Green Lantern Corps, the Brightest Day, Darkest Night, and Brightest Day.
Yeah.
Those were his.
It took a year to tell that whole story.
It did. And it was a good series.
It was a really good series. I enjoyed it. And Jeff Johns, he's just amazing writer. I love him as a writer. I love what he said in some of the interviews. He said he loves getting handed the underdogs because the Green Lantern, who's his favorite character, whenever he got it, they were about to can it completely.
Oh yeah,
and then it became one of their top books.
He actually just retired from writing Green Lantern.
Yeah, he just handed it over. I forget to who.
They had a whole party called the DC corporate had a whole party called Emerald Knights, and it was to celebrate his 6-year run on Green Lantern.
That is ridiculous. 6 years.
6 years writing one, not just one book, but series of books.
Yeah.
He wrote everything Green Lantern.
He took over the whole series, and now you got 3 different teams having to do his one job.
Yeah, his one job. But he's just amazing. I think he's great, and the what he's doing for DC now, I think he'll just help.
He was
world.
their trophy boy, the rock star, before Scott Snyder popped out.
Yeah, Scott Snyder, he's actually really cool. He's doing the new Superman Unchained.
Yeah, he just left.
Of course, I have no idea what's going on in that series.
Well, issue 1 just came out Wednesday, and I haven't read it, didn't pick it up.
Yeah, because I've been hearing a lot about it, and I want to know what's going on.
I want to get some of the variant covers, because they did, Bruce Timm did a variant cover.
Yeah.
And Bruce Timm, creator of Batman the Animated Series, he did the Superman Animated Series.
Oh, Bruce Timm is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he has his variant cover is Superman. He's got stubble, which is nice.
Yeah.
It's basically the 90s animated series Superman with some stubble, punching some 1940s robots with Lois Lane in the background, so as an homage to the.
But it looks like the Lois Lane from the Christopher Reeve movie. So she wasn't super pretty.
No,
she had a hamburger.
Yeah. This is homage to the Flesher, Studios Superman stuff.
I can see her now. Get him! Get him, man! Where's Clark? And then she goes insane.
I think that's the only thing that really bugged me about Superman was the fact that she spends all this time with Clark.
She doesn't
really pay that much attention to him, but still, you spend all
because
the
he's
time
supposed to
with
be the
him.
guy next door, the best friend that you don't really
but at the same time,
notice.
it's like you don't notice similarities.
Well, you guys both have a really nice cleft chin.
I'm saying, at the very least,
You guys are
similarities.
both really beautiful.
Well, that was the
Black hair. My goodness, you look a lot like Clark. By the way, I never see you both at the same time. That's when Superman's like, "Sorry, Lois."
That was something that I actually really loved about Superman Earth 1. I'm going to jump back onto that one. When he goes from Clark Kent to Superman, you actually notice very slight physical changes. His hair is different. He almost does a Super Saiyan hair switch thing. It's suddenly very active and blowing in the wind, even if there's no wind. And he looks a little bit taller and a little bit more muscular and a little bit older.
Well, you can make yourself look taller and better
posture.
frame, just your posture. So, one thing that they always say is that Clark Kent, as Clark Kent, he carries himself as how he kind of perceives the world, which is kind of cowardly, so he hunches over and he acts scared. So it would really not really hide his muscle definition of being hunched. Plus, take away height.
Yeah.
Plus, the
one artist who
he curls his hair while he's changes. Come on,
super curl.
There's one artist who I didn't like, but he draws that so beautifully, and that was Frank Quietly, who he drew the All-Star Superman.
Oh, he was on the All-Star Superman?
And just the way he drew Clark, in fact, there's a cover during that run where it's Superman standing there just all, Superman.
Oh, da-da-da.
And in this mirror is this picture or this image of Clark hunched over, just kind of looking melancholy. Yeah.
What's that amazing Kill Bill Volume 2 monologue about Superman?
See, I disagree with that.
You do?
I strongly disagree with that.
I agree with it, but I don't see it as him saying... Because what he says is, Batman, he goes, I love superheroes. Batman is actually Bruce Wayne. Spider-Man is actually Peter Parker. But Superman is the exception because Superman has always been Superman, whereas the others became their heroes. He's always been Superman. His cape, that's the blanket his mother wrapped him in when he came here. Clark Kent is the secret identity. That's how he says that that's how he perceives us as weak and cowardly. I don't fully agree with that, but at the same time, it makes you really think. Because when Superman is being Superman, he's actually being Kal-El from Krypton. He's being himself. But when he's Clark, he's hiding himself.
I disagree, because DC, there's two theories. And DC does books that support both theories that contradict each other.
Well, it's DC, they do that.
They do that, and they've been doing this for years because they don't want to officially come out on a stance and alienate part of the fans.
Yeah, because there's some fans who are like, no, he doesn't
and
see us that
this
way.
theory actually, I've heard blogs and stuff, really pisses me off. And the reason why is because he was, yes, his lineage is Kal-El.
Yes.
Okay, he is Kryptonian.
He's from the House of El.
In the new Man of Steel trailer, there's that scene like, they'll kill him. How?
Yeah.
You know, like, it's just so beautiful.
Am I the only one that got choked up hearing the Russell Crowe speech in the very first trailer? I got choked up with
with him with the cape and the kid playing.
And the kid. No, I'm not even saying just the images. I'm saying the speech. I got choked up.
I love the way Russell Crowe talks. I mean, he might be kind of a strange dude in person, but he's a good actor.
He's a great actor.
Amazing
his voice
actor.
is amazing, but his...
I mean, it's
Kevin
no Marlon
Costner's-
Brando, but that's because Marlon Brando was Marlon Brando.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Marlon Brando got paid $70-some-odd million for a total of 14 minutes of screen time between 1 and 2.
Yeah.
You know,
he barely did anything. But okay, Kevin Costner, I liked his monologue for his trailer, but just the one from Russell Crowe as playing Jor-El, it just I literally got choked up because he's like you'll show them the way. They'll chase out. You'll give them an ideal to strive for. They'll chase after you, and they'll stumble and fall. But someday they'll join you in the sun. And I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why, but when he says that someday they'll join you in the sun, I picture Booster Gold. I swear to God, I'm thinking Booster. He's right behind Superman.
Like the moment you see him, because in the scene he he closes his eyes and puts his lifts his head up a little bit, like the sun feels nice. You just immediately see the Booster Gold mask come on, and he's like, "Let's go, Skeet."
I'm just thinking Booster Gold. The one hero's probably never going to get a movie.
I would love to see him get a movie because I would love to see who they'd get to play him.
The Superman theory, as like I said, his lineage is Kal-El. He was born and raised the first, 13 years of his life as a normal boy as Clark Kent. A little sheltered because there's a spaceship in the...
For obvious reasons.
Because there's a spaceship in the basement, yeah.
Child Protective Services can never come to that house.
Yeah. So it's like he's a little sheltered.
Could you imagine he had a temper problem?
Oh wow.
Like Adult Protective Services shows up, and Martha opens the door, showing a super black eye.
Don't pet the kitty too hard. No!
I'm just imagining that terrible
Clark,
two stage.
Where she wouldn't come out on a date with me. I understand, Clark. I'm sorry. Just put Fluffy down. She should have went on that date with me.
I'm saying that 2-year-old age where everything's a temper tantrum anyway, kind of
slams that screen door shut.
Potty train Superman.
I know.
Well, there's one
very carefully.
You don't go potty on the floor. Kid looks up, gives you that look like, "Ma, Jonathan, my hair's on fire!"
There's that one episode in Smallville where he's in his house talking to a neighbor and he goes, "I could never figure out how you broke your crib. Your dad just said you kicked the dang thing, but he was obviously joking."
No, he wasn't. That was a good Jonathan Kent right there.
I liked him.
What was it? I can't remember his last name. He's the guy who used to play Bo Duke on Dukes of Hazzard. But I love him as a guy anyway. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
But he just fits so well as Jonathan Kent. And it really sucked because I always knew the inevitability was coming, where it's like, he's gonna die, and I'm like, no, don't go. And then it happened. And
on the 100th episode, they held it to the 100th episode.
They strung it out to the 100th episode, and it was a heart attack, like it was supposed to. And I was just like, the moment it happened, I was like, no. It was so sad, but I loved how they brought him back for the last episode.
They brought him back a couple of times.
They brought him back for a couple of times, but I love how they brought him back, especially in the last episode, as that kind of like a ghost. Yeah. And he's like, Clark, I always raised you to be my boy and everything. And he's just telling him how he raised him to be a good person. And he's like, do it. And also that's when you see him in the super a split second.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Clark, because the theory, what I believe, he was raised Clark Kent. He grew up Clark Kent. He is.
And then he found out he was. Then he found out he was Kal-El.
Superman is the theatrics. Superman is the show. He stands up straight. He's there to be the symbol of peace, justice, and the American way. Clark Kent, him, the solace man eating a sandwich in the diner. That's
okay. I like that. I never really thought of it that way. But you're right. He was raised as Clark Kent, and then he found out he was Jor-El's son.
And Superman is him trying to live up to his Kryptonian legend.
Yeah, because his dad, all the crap his dad tells him, because in the series, they've had throughout all his continuity, they've had Jor-El talk to him at certain points. He's like, this is how our people was. This is what we did, and all this stuff, and it's just like, wow, because his dad tells him all the high points of their people, and he's like, I got a lot of crap to do.
Yeah, he's got a lot to live up to.
He's got the world's worst please daddy complex.
Oh God.
And I love Superman, and there's that scene in this Man of Steel trailer where he shows Superman the spaceship, and he goes, "You're the answer to is there life out there?" And he goes, "Can I just be your son?" He goes, "You are."
He goes, "Can I just keep pretending to be your son?" And he goes, "You are my son." Yeah. That was the thing I really liked about Jonathan Kent. He saw this kid come down from the stars. He's got his spaceship in his barn, and he never once looked at him and be like, "You're not mine."
Yeah,
he's like, "You're my boy."
And he specifically raised him right. I mean, Clark could have been.
Could you imagine if he raised him to be a little d-bag?
That's what. There's a whole series called Red Sun,
where he lands in Russia.
Yeah, he lands in Russia. There's also
the turn of the Earth was just slightly off or something.
Yeah, well, they even have a line in Red Sun where it was, if he had landed 6 hours earlier, he would have landed in the middle of Kansas.
Yeah.
Like it's great. This is what Superman is if he is considered like a weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah.
What did they call him in that?
They still called him the Man of Steel because I hate to say it, Superman stole his name realistically from Stalin.
Yeah,
that's where the term Superman comes from.
Because I never knew what they called him in that series.
No, it's
because the idea of it was a Superman.
Yeah, Superman. So you had Red Sun. There's also a great series where they took the other route called Nail.
Sorry to interrupt this podcast, but I gotta ask Brandon here a question. Do you like teddy bears possessed by angels?
I love teddy bears possessed by angels.
Then do I have the book for you? It's Mr. Cuddles, a wonderful comic from Destiny Comics.
Oh God,
Never heard of that one.
What happens is there's a nail in the tire, and Jonathan Kent and they get a flat tire on the road
before they find him.
Yeah, and I forget, like the government raises him or something like that.
That's kind of like what happens in Flashpoint because the
Flashpoint the government got him.
Yeah, it was government. It was actually Cadmus.
Yeah,
they got him, and he never ever once saw the yellow sun. So when the Flash finds him in the facility, he's sickly and pale. And then the moment he puts him in the sun, he's like, "Papa!" And he freaks out. And he's like, "I'm gone." And
but Nail is basically, I forget exactly who raised him.
I think he ends up getting raised by not the Quakers, but those. What is it? The
Amish?
Yeah, I think he gets raised by the Amish.
Yeah.
We have never raised barns faster since we got young Zachariah here. Watch this. Zachariah, we need a barn. On it. Done.
So
I think that's the premise.
Yeah, I think the premise behind Nail is really a world without suit.
He's in the suit and he's got the Amish beard.
Yeah, he's got overalls on and like a t-shirt and like he's still lifting up the car with one hand or something like that.
Yeah, so
let me help you, English.
Yeah. So it's like an examination of the DCU without Superman, and eventually, like they can survive on their own with Batman, Wonder Woman, but eventually something happens to where you need Superman.
Yeah, well, in Flashpoint, they didn't have Superman, and Cyborg became the world's greatest hero.
Which is really sad.
Oh, yeah. It's like, wow.
What does that say about the rest of them?
Well, at the time, there was also a war between Aquaman and Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. His Atlanteans were fighting her Amazons.
They flooded a third of the world. And
I think they said that her stronghold was, like, England. She overthrew England, and she's like, we live here now. Because you met the Prime Minister's a dude, and he's like, look, I already take orders from one woman in a crown. And she's like, I don't want you to take orders, I want you to get out. Punts him 3 counties. But I actually, talking about Superman and the different renditions of him, and like the routes they've taken with him landing in Russia and becoming Amish, I actually had a dream the other night about this, and what it was 2 years before they find Clark, Jonathan and Martha are approached by the bank, and because they always had trouble with the farm, and they come to him. They're like, you know what? If you sell us the land around the house, we'll let you live there and everything, become like groundskeepers and stuff, and you can make money. And you make money.
British guy, I didn't really know how to feel about that because I've never seen Superman as just purely America, but I don't know.
I have.
The actor, I went and saw him in The Immortals.
Well, that's what he was in?
Yeah, horrible film.
Well, yeah,
horrible.
But I saw it because he was going to be Superman, and I wanted to see what this actor looked like.
And then he had the gun to his head.
Yeah. The actor has such a great American accent that it's not going to come off as
I know, that's the
British
thing.
Superman.
Andrew Garfield can pull off Spider-Man.
There's a lot of British people that can do really great American accents.
That's the thing.
What's the guy? House?
Oh, yeah.
Hugh Laurie,
yeah.
He does he's got a really thick accent when he doesn't talk American.
Yeah, I'm saying it was so great as far as his accent goes because I didn't really know who he was in high school, but like I seen a few episodes of House, whatever. So I actually thought he was American, and then all of a sudden,
I did too.
My friends were like, "Oh no, he was from Britain," and I started seeing some of his comedic stuff.
His comedy over in Britain. Yeah. He said some funny stuff.
Oh my gosh! And when I started watching his other stuff, I was like, "He's a genius."
Yeah, he was strictly comedy in Europe. And to get serious roles, he had to come over to America because he was so stereotyped. As he's like their Jim Carrey.
Yeah, he's like Jim Carrey over there.
He was their Jim Carrey.
Black Adder, freaking hilarious.
Oh man! But that's how I feel about that. That's how I do feel about Superman, though. But
well, real quick, let's jump onto the niche movies.
Yeah. Okay. Niche movies. Oh, yeah. I was actually wanting to get to this. I was trying to figure out a segue to it.
Segue!
The segue technically was when we mentioned the Superman film or whatever, Rocketeer.
The Rocketeer, yeah. But niche films. Let's go around, starting with Maylene. If you can, narrow it down to like your number one niche.
My number one. Oh gosh, I knew it earlier and it just completely went out of my head.
We should have started off with this then.
No. Okay, sorry. Well, there are actually a few, but what did I tell you earlier?
I don't remember.
You're supposed to remember because
What good are you?
He's pulling all this crap out about Superman. He's like, I don't remember 5 minutes ago.
I can remember dates, issue numbers.
He's like, I don't remember 20 minutes ago. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the one time you guys start with me and I can't think of what I wanted to say. Go around.
Well, this is my sick movie. Anytime I'm sick, I put this on. And I understand the fan rage. I understand why people don't like it. But Batman Forever.
Oh.
Dude.
Ouch.
I gotta go.
My nerd hurts.
It's the film that I watch when I'm sick.
I loved it as a kid.
Yeah.
I loved it as a kid too, but it's like I watched it, I think, last year. I see Chris O'Donnell in that rum suit, and I'm like, no, you're 12.
Oh, the bat nipples.
Yeah, well, there were kind of nipples. In
Tim Burton left, and like, finally, we get to put nipples on it. It's like, why?
Well, no, like Batman and Robin. If you think about it, it is a lighter take on Batman.
It is much lighter. That's actually something that
considering when he electrocutes the Two-Face villain, he's all. Yeah.
I loved it. I still think that's great.
That's something that Schumacher said when he was making the movies. Was he was deliberately trying to make them lighthearted, more for kids.
Yeah.
But Tommy Lee Jones' Two-Face still scared the shit out of me.
The only reason why...
just the way his face looked. That's it.
The only reason why I own Batman and Robin on DVD is because on the special features, Joe Schumacher apologizes for the film.
No way!
Yeah, I'll show you later.
I gotta see that!
He actually says, his exact words were, if you saw Batman Forever, and you liked it, and then you saw Batman and Robin, and you were disappointed, I'm sorry.
Nice.
So he apologizes for the film.
It takes some balls to
my 3 huge things with Batman and Robin, because I dealt with Batman Forever. I'm like, okay, it's kind of funny. I think they still got the right Alfred. Val Kilmer.
I liked Val Kilmer.
I don't know. He struck me as a Bruce Wayne only.
I didn't like Val Kilmer as either one.
But I was just like, okay,
he did a better job as Bruce Wayne.
Because I loved Jim Carrey as Riddler.
That was amazing.
That was amazing.
Great.
Yeah. I think that
the way he said "riddle me," that man.
I think that was the first thing I ever actually saw Jim Carrey in as a kid.
Really,
I think
the Riddler. Actually,
but then I watched Batman and Robin, and then freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Iceman cometh.
Oh God!
Nice to meet you.
I would have preferred Adam West in that.
Man,
that's
the thing that
would be likable that way.
Well, it was funny because I said this before. I didn't read comics as a kid, but even as a kid, I didn't really care for that movie, the Batman and Robin with Arnold Schwarzenegger, because I remember watching it the whole time and thinking, "This guy's an actor." That was my thought. Even as I'm 12, and I'm like, "This guy's an actor."
What is best in life, Mr. Freeze?
Crush your enemies. Watch them be driven before them. No, watch your enemies driven before you and see the lamentation of the women. And then freeze them! Freeze them in their agony.
and then say a pun.
And say a horrible snow-related pun.
But it was but Batman Forever, I will defend it in that it is close to the comics. It's a good origin for Robin. There is death.
He was
in
way
Robin.
too old, though.
He was.
It made it.
Yeah, that was the one thing I will say.
Even as a kid, it wasn't very believable having him be like 19. No,
Yeah.
he was 17.
He's like 17. He's like
Like
board
17.
of the state or whatever.
Yeah, he was like 17, and it's like, no, come
like
on.
at that point you can.
Of course, that was the first time in a Batman movie I ever heard them mention Metropolis.
Nah, they did. They mentioned Metropolis.
The story's probably halfway to Metropolis by now. I'm like, they said it.
They also
Yeah.
the Nightwing was said in the film too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but I couldn't believe this 17-year-old kid who rides a motorcycle and just had saved everybody from home. He would have a major chip on his shoulders and wouldn't be like, okay, we're partners, I'll listen to you. He'd be like, I'm going to go kill people that do bad because my parents are dead.
Well,
That's how I believe it. They should have left him 12 because a 12-year-old would listen to a guy like that.
a 12 or
Because he would
16.
see, he would have a wonder. He'd be like, we're fighting crime. We're being heroes. He would have that wonder. A 17-year-old kid would be like, we're just beating up people.
Robin was
We're
supposed.
not cops.
Yeah, Robin was supposed to be in the first Batman film with Tim Burton. They had a whole scene. It was they drew it out and then they cut it at the last moment.
Wow. Well, revealing Batman and then having Robin, that would be too soon.
Well, because the storyboard, the way it worked in the first Batman film, was
Maybe at the end of that Batman film, also he's like, let's go to the circus.
No.
And then it like goes to the Batman film, it's like, da, 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 and honestly, the next movie, it's the opening where they're in the circus, and dead Graysons.
No,
I gotta say, I love how Val Kilmer says the circus.
circus. He
You
says
go
it
to
with
the
a lisp.
circus?
Yeah, circus.
Lift.
All those motorcycles he had, though, I'm like, you had those delivered that morning before they showed up just to keep the kid there. He's like, I'm a car guy. I mean, you should go see the one I drive to work.
Yeah,
All those motorcycles, he's like, I have no idea what these things are.
but I mean,
I had them delivered.
it's a fun movie, and
Amazon, you know.
yeah,
Oh, man. What's Amazon? About 15 years, you'll see, kid.
Yeah. No, it's a fun movie. It makes me laugh every time. It still is a Batman film.
What does the R stand for?
It was a Robin.
Robin.
Oh.
Well, that's another thing is, that was the one thing I kind of liked was there was no 40-year-old cancer voice on Batman. He used his voice.
Yeah.
But then also you get Batman and he's like, I smoke 8 packs a day.
What is the
That's only about the rabbits.
So no, like I liked Val Kilmer as Batman. I think he made a better Bruce Wayne than
He was shorter than Michael Keaton.
Yeah, well, you just make the ears longer. It all works out.
Oh, this is not the 1980s.
Bruce, what happened to you? Don't ask.
But no, like
And Charles Lee say he turns into Hank Hill's dad. The Japanese shot my shins off.
honestly, Michael Keaton is probably the best actor who ever played Batman.
He was
say that.
great. Like at first,
Not counting Kevin Conroy.
okay, I saw Beetlejuice first.
Mhm.
Oh, so did I.
I saw Beetlejuice first as a kid. Like, all this stuff was already out and on tape when I was a little kid, but I saw Beetlejuice first, and then I saw the things like Michael Keaton as Batman, and I was like, picked up the Beetlejuice, I was like, no, wait a minute,
Yeah, the funny thing is,
whoa!
I didn't see the Michael Keaton Batman until I was older. I think I was, a couple
But
years
you
ago.
can see
And the whole
a
time
little
I'm
bit of
watching,
Beetlejuice in
the
that.
whole time I'm watching Batman, I'm imagining him in the Beetlejuice makeup,
Well,
like
okay. In the
Beetlejuice
first-
saving those people. Why do you think?
Batman.
Okay, in the first one, he's sitting in the who's I forget the name of the girl, his love interest in the first.
Oh,
one. I can't
Vicky
remember.
Vale.
It was Vicky Vale. Okay, that's what I thought it was. I just couldn't remember the name, and I was like, it couldn't be Vicky Vale, but it was. And the Joker comes in, and he says stuff, and he picks up the tin, and he's like, "Let's get a little nuts!" And I was like, Beetlejuice.
Well, that's actually where Robin was supposed to come in. Was right after that scene.
Yeah.
Because you know how she turns around and Bruce Wayne's not there in the corner where he
Yeah.
got shot? There was a whole chase scene in the script with Batman chasing down, or as Bruce Wayne chasing down the Joker. And then he calls Alfred and they make a costume switch in the middle of the chase scene, which was really weird. Like, even if you watch the panel.
That is a rubber suit. There's no way he can do it right. He's like running, and he's like, ugh, Vaseline me!
Yes. Oh, God, skin-tight rubber, just
So,
no.
Anyway,
Well, that's the thing from Batman Forever, is like, when he's putting the suit on, honestly, like, ass cheek,
Yeah,
rubber ass cheeks, then the cape. It's
That
like,
ass.
it's like, That was completely unnecessary.
It was.
Was it just me, or was there like a split in it? It's
There was.
So he gets. It's like, do you have to poo while you're on patrol? He's like, Alfred, I got the runs again. Give me the split back suit.
But no, there was a scene that was cut where the Joker, in the middle of this chase scene, ran through the circus and blew up the tent, and that's where you see the Graysons like die. And then he grabs Robin and holds him as a hostage.
And then Batman kidnaps him.
Yeah. And
you're coming with me, kid.
Well, Batman, like,
you're my ward now.
Batman saves, Dick Grayson, and there's a scene like it was drawn, and Dick Grayson's looking at Batman and goes, "Kill him," and he goes, "I'll get him for you." And that's kind of where Robin leaves off, and it was just meant to be a cameo.
Well, yeah. At first, Dick Grayson was always bent on, like, when he first became Robin, he's like, "Kill the people that hurt my family."
Well, that was Jason Todd.
Well, but Dick Grayson at some point he was kind of like that too. He eased down, like he wasn't.
Well, they did the one episode in the animated series where Robin's Reckoning, where they actually introduced Danny Zuko, and they were
the ones that killed his family.
Robin was like at the end of that episode.
He was right at the line.
He was at the line, and at the episode, and Robin says to Batman, "Is like, you were right not to bring me on this one. You were afraid I was going to kill him." And Batman has the line, goes, "No. He took so much away from you. I was afraid he would kill you."
Yeah, because he would. Oh, yeah, because there's just.
And that's a kid's cartoon, people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the way Kevin Conroy conveyed that voice, too. Did you hear his interview with Kevin Smith?
Oh, yeah.
Just the way he got the Batman voice, because he's like, the Bruce Wayne voice is pretty much his voice, just a little bit more lilty. Then he drops his voice several octaves to be Batman, and he said, I figured out how to do it because he looked into Batman's life, because he wasn't a comic fan.
No.
He looked into Batman's life, and he goes, yeah, this is how it's going to be. And he came up with that voice because this voice is his real voice. It's the brooding. It's the fact that he's fighting for a family that's dead. And I was just like, oh my gosh.
So anyway, Batman Forever.
I remember my niche movie too.
Okay, what was your move?
Okay, I know a lot of Kevin Smith fans will not agree, but Jersey Girl.
Oh.
I know, and I think the reason why a lot of people don't like it is because it's not typical Kevin Smith.
No.
It's not what you think of when you think of Kevin Smith. If you look at the movie and forget that it's a Kevin Smith movie.
Just trying real hard to convince.
No, because it is a good movie, I think, and it's because it's not.
It's okay.
What you consider to be typical Kevin Smith. It's not, Jay and Silent Bob. It's not.
I would like to see Ben Affleck do more comedy. Yeah. Now that he's a serious actor,
he's done so much serious stuff. Now I would love to see him go back to comedy because honestly, the comedy he did in the Kevin Smith movies, it was actually really good.
We just watched Chasing Amy and some of his other ones.
Oh, that one was actually pretty good. I like that one.
But it was just like I'd like to see Ben Affleck because when niche movies, I liked Daredevil.
I did too, actually.
Yeah.
What does it say that I thought Ben Affleck's best acting so far was when he played a blind guy?
You're the blind lawyer. I just love when he unmasks him at the end of the movie. And he's like, the blind lawyer. He's like completely in disbelief.
I just think if you look at it as just a romantic comedy, then it's a really good movie. Like if you don't think of it as a Kevin Smith directed film, because. I think it's cool that he was trying to, branch out. It may not be what everyone.
He tried real hard.
It's not what they wanted him to do. It's not what his,
A lot of people didn't want him to make that movie.
But I think I actually think it was a really good film, and I think that he gets a lot of flack for it because it wasn't, Jay and Silent Bob.
He forgot about Jersey Girl the moment he made Red State, and everyone's like, "You suck." But I'll never forget that movie. I haven't seen it yet. I still haven't seen it, but he caught
Red State?
Yeah.
Oh, I loved Red State.
I haven't seen it, but so many people threw flack at him. Of course, he does a show with Ralph Garman every Friday night. Ralph Garman's like, yeah, well, at least I'm in the other movies where I get speaking roles. Kevin Smith's like, you're in Clerks 3, you get to talk. And then he eases up a little bit. But my niche movie, it's hard to say because there's a few of them. But I'm going to have to go with Leaving Extraordinary Gentleman. And that was just really good because it pulls together literary classics.
Well, when you get into the Alan Moore films, which Alan Moore hasn't watched them. He hates them, hasn't watched them.
Oh, yeah, he won't watch them.
My problem with League And again, because you're trying to serve
That's
out...
the guy that loves Batman Forever.
No, well, my problem with League is it's a great film and I enjoy it. I just don't like Tom Sawyer.
I didn't like the Tom Sawyer.
Because he's not in the comics.
No, he's not.
He's a character that they added just for the film. And the thing is, he serves the exact same function and role on the team as Alan Quartermain.
Yeah, he's another Alan Quartermain. But, okay, I didn't really care because I just threw him in there for the giggles in the movie, like you said.
To appease American fans.
No, yeah, to appease the American fans because he's part of Mark Twain, Great American Literature. I liked that they put him in there because, it's like, because there's at some point kids are like, what happens to him after, like at the end of the books? Like, what happens to him later? He became a secret agent in the 1800s, and he just kicks ass. But just they had because they had Mina Harker in it. Like, so, because it answers questions like, what did these people do after their books? And because I don't care who you are, there's a little part of your mind goes, well, what happens next?
Well, the thing is, the Nautilus and, who's the character from Thousand Leagues Under the Sea?
Captain Nemo.
Captain Nemo. Jules Verne wrote a story that takes place at the end of that man's life.
Yeah.
After they thought because he killed the character and then brought it back later on.
Well, at the end of 20,000 Leagues, he was shot, and but then they say later that he faked his death and he hid the Nautilus somewhere.
Yeah,
and
it was in a volcano.
Yeah, he hid the Nautilus. Well,
which says something about the Nautilus that
right.
they can handle.
Oh yeah. It's like, this was the 1800s. What are you making it out of? but I really liked because they come back because it's like they bring back Nemo. My only thing with Nemo is he wasn't in the Hindu religion.
No, but the thing is, to make him a Hindu, I think actually brought a lot more culture to the character and to the team.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's the way he was in the comics.
Yeah.
He was.
But the fact that he was that way, I didn't agree with him because when it comes to Captain Nemo and the Nautilus, I'm very pure to the book.
Well, the illustrations that were in Jules Verne's, it makes him look more like the American hero.
Yeah,
which we use that term now, but it didn't exist then.
Yeah,
the idea of the American hero was a cowboy scratched his ass.
Yeah,
at that time.
Hey, back up! I love westerns. But
yeah, but they weren't keen in European literature.
Oh yeah, they were they made them out to be some of the dumbest people in the world. But with Nemo, it's like I really liked how the way they made the Nautilus look. Though I was like, that's awesome.
The one thing I love, they did this in the comic, and I loved it that they carried it over into the film. Jekyll and Hyde.
Oh yeah.
When he transforms into Hyde, the skin has been stretched so thin that it becomes almost a little bit more transparent.
Yeah.
And there's part of it that ripped, and you could see the muscle
yeah.
tissue under, like these gnarly rips.
Yeah, like when he first changed, you see muscle tears, and it's just amazing. Like because in the original story for Dr. Jekyll and Hyde, he's a smaller, more cruel man, but in this they made him out to be what's because there's the nice guy in the middle, and in one set there's the small, smug, evil person, but then there's also the big brutish people that are just like, well, I'm going to beat your ass. And so they made it more that way in the comic and the movies, and it's just the way. But at the same time, it shows that the Beast has a heart because he's like, well, we kind of like me.
Yeah. And,
and then they made him schizophrenic. Every time he looks at anything reflective, he's like, hey there, Henry.
I love that.
Let me out.
Yeah.
I love that because that means the demon is always with him.
Yeah.
There's no peace.
And the guy they had play Dr. Jekyll was amazing.
I love that actor. I really do. I
great.
think he needs to be in more things.
I think so.
The last thing he was in the first Hitman. Or not Hitman, Kick-Ass.
Yeah, he was.
He was in Kick-Ass for he had one extended scene where it was like just before Hit Girl goes into the building to clear it out.
Yeah, he was the waiter.
The lobbyist.
No, he was the lobbyist.
He's the guy in the lobby.
He's like, why can't I have a gun?
Yeah.
And he's like, you lost a little girl? And honestly, it's like, no, honestly, they're like, well, and he just turns, and he's got that silencer in his mouth, and she shoots the silencer through his cheek, and at first I'm like, that wouldn't kill him. And I thought, He would bleed out. Yeah, he's dead.
But no, it was a really I love that guy as an actor. He was in a British TV show called.
I saw him in another movie. I can't remember what it was, but I really remember liking it.
He was in Ironclad, which is one of my favorite. Medieval sword fighting.
I remember that.
But he was in season 2 of this dinosaur series in the BBC did. I can't remember the name of it.
Dinotopia?
Not Dinotopia.
That was American.
Yeah. But he's a great actor. I just wish he'd get more work.
Then the guy that they had, the guy that played Lestat played Dorian Gray. Like his smugness, I'm just like, yeah, I believe you're a dick.
Yeah.
Like just the way he portrays himself, I'm just like, yeah. The chick that played Mina, I liked her. The Invisible Man, he was one of my favorites, aside from Alan Quartermain. Alan Quartermain, I was just like,
yes,
spot on. But The Invisible Man I really liked because I liked that actor.
And Alan Quartermain, when we got together to start doing the pulps, we had to. That was one of the stories that I looked at first was the Alan Quartermain stuff. To be like, okay,
his kid's dead.
Because that was an old pulp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My favorite line from that whole movie is at the beginning when he's in Africa and he's like, Simon Matilda. He throws him his shotgun. I'm like, yeah. And then he goes to shoot the guy and he goes, oh, damn it. He's like, I'm getting old. He has to put his glasses on. And then he shoots the guy.
It's so great.
The fact that the guy's like maybe 500 yards out and he's just like, oh, damn it. And he's like, gets his glasses on and still makes the shot.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're good.
Well, like Alan Quartermain.
With a freaking elephant gun! It's like, you're going to get the guy, but your shoulder's going to be broken.
See, in that scene, I didn't really get Alan Quartermain. I actually got Sean Connery right there. I was like, that's just Sean Connery being a badass.
He was so perfect for Alan Quartermain.
Yeah,
it really
great.
was.
Just because if you think about it, Alan Quartermain is just a 19th century retired James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But he was really cool, and the relationship they put between him and Tom Sawyer was great.
Yeah.
Because Tom Sawyer's like, is this how you taught your kid to shoot? And then he goes inside, I'm like, you fucked up.
Yeah.
Don't talk about the kid.
Which is why, I don't like... Again, I don't like that they added that character, Tom Sawyer.
Yeah.
Because you could have just had more Quartermain.
Oh, yeah. Moriarty, I thought, was great. But at the same time, I'm like, but Sherlock...
I know.
I wish they would have, at least thrown a cameo in for him in the movie.
Mm.
Also, he just walks... you just hear a guy go, Watson, or something like that. Because they were in England! And I was just like, that sucks. But I actually just thought of my other niche movie, if you don't mind me mentioning it just real quick, was The 13th Warrior. You guys ever heard of that?
Oh, I love that movie.
That's one of my favorite movies. That I could watch that movie hundreds of times. I've actually read the book that it's based on. At the beginning of the book, because in the beginning of the book he talks about how he's banished, and then he's next to the vault. He's already inland next to where he's close to where he's supposed to go when he meets the Vikings. In the book, they describe where he goes. He travels through Turkey and all these other countries, and he's just describing how they're just beasts. And in the book, they talk a lot about how they just have sex with any woman they want. And it's like, wow, this wasn't in the movie.
Well, the 13th Warrior, prepare to get your minds blown, is the perfect retelling of the Beowulf legend.
Yeah.
It is Beowulf.
Nice.
Oh, yes.
It is, even down to the dragon with the fire coming down the mountain.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well,
everything in that movie is the Beowulf legend, except that your warrior is Middle Eastern instead of the Danish prince.
Yeah. Well, check this out. In the book, it says that it's a true manuscript that they had found over years in fragments from an actual man named Ibn Khalad. That it's an actual story that when he got home, he wrote it down that these events happened.
Mm.
So if it's true that it actually happened, that just all the more power. But I loved that movie. Okay, now we can get to you.
I gotta go.
We're out of time.
Fine, whatever. Constantine. I gotta go Constantine.
Whoa!
I know
see
that,
ghosts.
I know. Whoa! And that's the thing is Keanu Reeves' very specific brand of non-acting actually works for this because
it does
with the way he was. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very jaded and cynical and dark and there's hints of Matrix, the world behind the world, but it was cool.
I kept expecting to do that low arm thing and then fly.
Yeah. I don't know. I liked it. I loved it.
It was good. I
loved the story.
I'm going to admit I was bored watching that film.
My two...
Like, out of my mind. I was crying. I was so bored. And I'm not saying that to...
Like, the two things for me that like jumped out immediately when I saw Travis, I'm like, he's not British and he's not blonde.
Well, here's the thing. I have the special edition 2-disc DVD of Constantine. In the special features, they did one photo where they bleached Keanu Reeves' hair blonde, and they gave him a brown trench coat.
And he looked like he had cancer.
It looks so... Yeah, it looks...
More so than he was supposed to.
It looks so ridiculous that it's just like, this is why they did that.
Yeah,
he's like, he probably looked at himself and he's like, I look Gestapo.
Well, like, I've always been a student of, like, religious mythology and questions of philosophical nature, and I don't know, that movie just speaks to me as, like, oh, these events are so cool and, like, badass. And,
the way it ties together.
God fighting Satan, like, I don't know, it's just amazing.
It was really well done. It could have been closer to the comic books.
Yeah,
but
the guy that got to be Satan, that was
he was amazing.
That was great.
The tongue thing, I was like, yeah, you're the devil.
Yeah.
It
was that creepy
little horn. Oh, how I miss the old names.
Yes, I've seen that actor in other things. I'd be like, no, it's just Satan.
Yeah,
I've seen him in so much
Satan,
stuff.
Sir.
Yeah, like even when he's like a good guy, it's like, oh, the first thing I ever saw that guy in was Jurassic Park, the Lost World, and he gets eaten. Like the whole time he's like getting attacked by these little scavengers, like Carlos, Carlos, and he's just listening to mariachi music. Oh, and I'm like, yeah, you're dead.
But there's I don't know how much of the deleted scenes or extended stuff you've seen in Constantine.
I only had a burned copy of the DVD.
Pirate.
A pirate.
I'm a pirate. I'm a pirate.
That's fair.
You are a pirate. Sorry, popped into my head.
But there's in the deleted scenes, there's an entire subplot where Constantine was sleeping with a devil or with a demon.
Oh, I saw that
during the course of the film.
Yeah, there's a demon that.
Like, there's 3 scenes with her, like her and him in bed, and like it's just her in bed, and at
like
the end
her
of the
tail comes up over his shoulder.
At the end of the scene, like you see her tail, it's like, oh, she's a demon. And then there's another scene where the first time he's in Papa Midnight, so you see her.
She talks to him.
Oh wow, okay.
And then the third scene is at the end where he, in the rain where he's blown away the demons. Mm-hmm. She's one of the demons in there.
The demon that whenever it starts raining, she goes holy water.
Yeah.
That's the girl and that was the whole. She was the girl from that subplot.
Why did they take that out?
Well, the thing is, she survives. That's in the deleted scenes. She survives that battle, and Constantine's got her at point blank, and he just goes go, and he lets her leave.
Oh my god!
Like it's a great subplot. It really is. I think it was cut for time because all the digital stuff was finished.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think. One thing I really like is after he cuts his wrist and the devil's talking to him, he like tries to light a cigarette and he goes, when you cut deep, you get the dead.
Yeah, he explains it.
Finger control goes out the window. He goes, here, let me help you. And he lights it and he keeps taking it away from him. And he gives him the look like, I'm not in hell yet. Really? He's like, I'm not in hell yet. Give me the cigarette.
I love that, oh.
Great. Good one, Brandon.
That's probably Phil, the guy who was supposed to be here.
Because he just gives him that look like, stop messing with me.
It's like, really?
Why would you do this? But I thought it was really great. But the lady that played the cop, I can never remember her real name.
It's something. She was in The Mummy.
Yeah, like the first half hour of the movie, I'm seeing this. I'm like, where's Rick? Where's your kid?
Leave
your kid?
Huh?
Where's the kid? Just left your kid, huh?
Not here. Doesn't count. Don't exist.
Don't exist. But it's funny, it's like as if in the movie, she's like, man, I always thought this stuff wasn't real. Like when my grandma was telling me the stories about her, and my great grandma was telling me stories about her and my grandpa in Egypt. And I'm like, what? That would be an awesome That'd be an awesome throw in. It's like the Mummy happened. She's related.
And then I guess my other niche movie and one that I know everybody really hates on is Van Helsing.
I actually didn't hate that.
Well, that's good.
I actually didn't hate that.
It was really long, but I loved all the.
My
thing is, I really like Hugh Jackman. Mm-hmm. Like anything I ever see him in, I'm just like, Wolverine's an actor.
My problem with Van
Helsing,
love
Kate Beckinsale. Yeah. I see her and I'm just like, if I could just. Mary.
I love how she's the only one that doesn't have a Romanian accent in her whole family.
Oh yeah, she's more British. She's got like a British accent. Everybody else is like, "What Romanian?"
I have 2 problems with Van Helsing as a film. One, he kills Dracula at the end.
He never killed Dracula.
Which means because that film should have been like him, like, one day I'll get you, which sets up Dracula.
Yeah, because he doesn't kill Dracula, because, he claims in the old stories Van Helsing's met Dracula in the past.
Yeah, like, they've had meetings.
And they've had meetings, like, but
they could have turned that into a trilogy of films.
Because he doesn't, because in all canon, Dracula isn't killed by Van Helsing until he's old.
Yeah, Van Helsing's an old man. So they could have dragged that out a lot longer.
Oh, yeah.
My second problem is because you've younged up, de-aged Van Helsing.
Which I think is cool.
I'm not a problem with that. They stole liberally from Solomon Kane. A lot. They very liberally stole from Solomon Kane. That same year, a Solomon Kane film came out.
It did?
It did.
Really?
I had to. It was never released in America. I had to order a copy from Europe. I have the film. And
it's a shocker.
The problem is, because they liberally stole so much from Solomon Kane, the Solomon Kane film, which had a smaller budget,
stayed out of it.
Looked like they had pulled from Van Helsing.
Oh.
Am I the only one that liked it? Did you like the Friar?
Friar. I did. I thought he was cool.
She's like, but we can't. He's like, how can I ever pay? And he whispers in her ear something. Yeah. She goes, you can't do that. You're a monk. He goes, actually, I'm just a friar.
I love that actor too. He's so. Oh,
he's such a great actor. I love him. I've seen him in other stuff. I really liked him in 300 because he was a storyteller.
Yeah.
I liked him as the storyteller. Because I just listened to the parts where he's telling the story because I'm like, nice.
And when he was,
you're right. The gods seem fit to bless me with an extra.
Yeah. His whole father-son dynamic in Lord of the Rings, too, as was amazing.
Oh, am I the only one where I'm like, whenever he's like, my son's dead, and they're like, no, he's alive, don't burn him. Am I the only one where I'm like, your dad's a dick?
No, you're not the only one.
I just saw that.
I forgot it was that actor.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, I'm like...
Everybody sees Sean Bean dying again, so that's all I think about.
Well, I really liked Sean Bean, because I've never really seen him in a movie where he lives. Well, actually, that's not true. He lives in Mirror Mirror.
That's why
he played the king in Mirror Mirror, and he lived. That's the only movie I've ever seen him live in. Every other movie I've ever seen him in, he gets snubbed.
Because are you talking about the king? Like my son's dead, whatever. I really got into. Brad and I have been watching Fringe lately, and he's like one of the main actors.
That's right. He plays
Walter.
Yeah.
It's like. It's so funny because
here's like you tried to kill your son. Every scene he's in, you tried to kill your boys. You're not a good person.
Well, it was just funny.
There's nothing good about you or what you do.
I had also because I forgot I had been so long since I'd seen that movie.
And then she watched it. And she's
Lord
like,
of the Rings. And then I was like, oh my gosh, it's Walter, and it's just so weird.
If he ever gets written off that show, it's just like, you know what? He didn't really die. He just he got sent to another dimension where he's now the steward of Gondor. But. I liked Boromir and I liked Sean Bean. He was really great. When he died, I was like, oh, because I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, it's sad. He doesn't live.
One does not merely join a Lord of the Rings movie and live.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay, Sean Bean. Equilibrium. Another niche movie I love. Mainly because that's the first time I ever saw Christian Bale. Gets shot in the face. James Bond gets thrown to the bottom of a giant satellite and has flaming wreckage land on him.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
He was 006, and then a bunch of other movies he gets killed in. But then you hit Game of Thrones, and I'm like, I hadn't read the book before I watched the first season, because I had no idea it was a book. I just thought, well, this is a neat series, this is cool. And then my friends go, if you like that, you'll love the books. So I started reading the books. And then I get to the last, and then one of my friends, he's like, so what do you think of Game of Thrones? I'm like, it's great, I love Ned Stark, he's awesome. He goes, have you read the books? No, he goes, ooh.
Oh god!
Because then I hadn't seen it, and it was right before the season finale, and I hadn't seen it yet. My friend had, and he goes, ooh, yeah.
About that.
He goes, read the book now.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I'm just like, Sean Bean's great. He's finally gonna live and something. Yay. And then also he's like, bring me his head. What? No.
Have you? Are you caught up?
I'm halfway through second season.
Okay, there's...
Because I don't have HBO.
I'm not going to...
You're talking about
the Red Wedding?
Red Wedding.
Oh, no, I did see the scene from that. One of my friends like, you cannot miss this scene.
Oh, my God.
What they do to Rob's wife.
I know.
I was like, that's torture enough.
Seriously.
Oh, and then I started doing that work. I was having this daydream where I'm like, you know what? I'm there, and I worked for Rob Stark, and then, okay, Rob's still going to die, but I just kill the phrase. Every one of them.
Yeah, for real. I mean, I know that George R. R. Martin takes absolutely no pity in dealing with his characters, and I love that.
Well, he doesn't do it just because he's like a cruel, vindictive person. Because he says, I've read all these books where everybody starts loving the main character, and you just end up knowing they're going to be fine.
They're gonna live.
He goes, I don't want it. He's like, I didn't want to do that. He goes, I wanted to be able to have this moment where you can actually see them pass on and just bring in a whole new dynamic. Yeah. And so I understand that, and I'm not like, well, screw you, I'm not watching your stuff anymore.
Yeah, no, I have much respect for him for that.
Like, the one person who's lived so far through every single one of his books, and I'm really happy about it because I love the character, is the youngest Stark daughter, Arya.
Arya, yeah.
I love her because she's, in her mythology, she gets trained by the dancing sword master, it's Sergio Farrell, which I thought his character was amazing. Mm-hmm. And then and then they're originally trying to get her back to Winterfell by saying she's a boy on her way to the Wall. Mm-hmm. And then she gets taken by the Lannisters, and she becomes a servant there, and she tries to kill Tywin, and then she becomes part of I think they're called the Nameless.
The
Faceless. And she becomes that, and she's blind for a while, too. Yeah. And just her character's amazing, and she just hasn't died. And so I've really latched on her because I just thought her character's great, especially seeing how she names her sword Needle.
Yeah, and she's actually gone through the most changes out of any character that's still
because the series, if you look like between a couple episodes, they're covering months to a year in just a couple episodes. Yeah. So she's going to have a lot of development, and it's like you're literally watching some of these kids grow up before your eyes. But at the same time, you're like, you haven't gotten bigger.
I know we're talking about niche movies, but can I bring up a character that I really love?
Yeah.
That everyone seems to hate. Okay, I know people are...
I mean, my slings and arrows ready.
People are... Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much everyone's attitude towards this character. I am going to admit that I love Jar Jar Binks. I know everybody hates him.
You can't marry her.
No. Okay, this is my reason why.
Wedding off.
This is the reason why.
That's worse than hating Firefly.
No,
Who hates Firefly? You hate Firefly?
No,
I do!
Okay. Oh my God! You wouldn't be here right now.
You're like starting shit that doesn't need to be started.
No, I love Firefly. No, the reason why I'm bringing up Jar Jar Binks, and I know Brown's probably going to edit this out because he doesn't want anyone knowing.
That's all the time we got here.
You heard it from the table here.
I think the reason, because I never understood, I didn't even know about the whole racist thing. I didn't even hear about that till last year. I never.
Me neither.
I never saw him as a racist character. I will say that right now. I
just saw him as unnecessary.
Yes, Mia,
I just saw him as unnecessary.
I think this is why. I've got a fondness for him because the first time I ever saw any of the Star Wars, the original trilogy, was when I was 7 or 8, which I think was a bit too young to watch.
You love Ewoks too, don't you?
Yes, I do. You
weren't there, man. They were everywhere.
I was about 7 or 8 when I first saw the Star Wars movie. I think I was too young to really enjoy the film.
Well, that's the thing. That's how you can tell how old somebody is. It's like if you tell them oh, well, what did you think of Return of the Jedi? I hated the Ewoks. Well, then they were closer to an adult when they saw it.
Honestly,
Ewoks are cute. You're like,
I will say now that I saw all, as far as the original 3 goes, the 4th through 6th, I've only seen them all, obviously all of them once and one of them twice. And I think it's because as a kid, I got bored watching the fight scenes. As a 6-year-old, I was like...
You're such a girl.
Now, here's a piece of trivia.
You probably laughed at the stormtrooper line in the jail cell, too. Stormtrooper.
Here's the one thing a lot of people don't know. The guy who choreographed the fight scenes for Star Wars, same guy who choreographed the fight scene for Princess Bride.
I did not know that.
That's cool.
Well, and Lord of the Rings.
I will admit that I'm a girl, so thank you very much for noticing.
Well, one thing, somebody pulled sense to the Darth Vader fights, why he was so blocking. I forget who said it, but they go, well, if you think about it, Darth Vader is a 60-year-old cyborg. He probably he probably has some of the same parts from when he first got it, and he's also older, so his natural parts aren't going to move as well.
Honestly, and I think going back, because again, I didn't really watch a whole lot of sci-fi. I think that's what I wasn't really into sci-fi as a kid. I wasn't until I got older that I got into sci-fi. Don't give me that look. Don't give me that look. Yeah, but
I wasn't there. I couldn't help her.
But
she didn't know the folly of her ways with her literature
I was
and
busy
good
having
learning.
A life. No, I'm just kidding.
Outside, you went out. That's
I went
weird.
outside.
Outdoors. How are you not burnt? I mean, come on.
But, and so yeah, I would just say that I like Jar Jar Binks. Maybe if I go back and watch the original movies, I'll understand why people don't like him more.
I didn't hate him. I thought he was unnecessary. There was a couple parts where it's like, okay, that's neat. But at the same time, the Gungans in general, their plot, just the way they go through their plot, didn't make a lot of sense to me.
I think what it is that I think we need a few unnecessary characters in everything. Because,
that's true.
Every movie has to have the unnecessary, like I don't get why they're there, but okay.
One of the effects guys said if they had made the movie instead of 4 back in the day, Jar Jar Binks' ears would have been concreted to his back. They would have never moved.
Honestly, I think, like I said, just because every movie, or TV show, whatever you're doing, needs those unnecessary characters to make the other characters pop out more.
I will say the one funny thing about Jar Jar Binks is he has one scene in episode 2, and people hated him after episode 1. They really did.
They thought he was a douche.
Yeah, they really hated him. But in his one scene in episode 2, he looks right at the camera. Like, I'm still here. It was like Lucas is like,
it was a big fuck you moment. It was a big fuck you moment.
Because they're all leaving the room, and he's the last one to leave the room, and he just does a slow turn to the camera.
By the way, Mike, you can't banish me from anything because I am probably a bigger Doctor Who nerd than you are.
You are. I will give you that.
So the fact that I'm as big a Doctor Who nerd, like I'm a Whovian,
you're saved.
I'm saved.
But
are you saved? Yes, I watch Doctor Who.
I love the robot chick in Star Wars stuff because at the end, as the Emperor's falling down the shaft, he calls Jar Jar Binks and goes, "Hey, Jar Jar, I'm sorry, Emperor Palpatine, I'm sorry I used you in the Senate and everything to forward my evil plot. I'm real sorry about that." He goes, "Oh, no, no's a problem." And he hangs up and he goes, "You made use of me," and he puts the hood on. He's like, turns out he's a dark Sith Lord. If I ever do another Star Wars tabletop game, I'm gonna try and make a Gungan Jedi. Because I tried to do it in the last game I played, and friends like, "No, they're just too stupid."
Well, you think
like,
about
what about a Wookiee Jedi? He's like, Lucas has made it canon that you can only have one Wookiee Jedi every century. And I was like, oh, I hate you. And I was like, you're one of those guys. He's like, I'd like to stay close to canon. I was like, fine, I'm a Debronian Jedi. He looks like the devil, but he's a good guy.
It could work. Well, we got to get this kind of wrapped up. We ran a little long.
Well, then we'll do the because we want to talk about.
I have a feeling that if it runs too long, they're just going to cut out everything I said during this entire thing.
Cut out the Jar Jar part.
Hey, you know what? I'm a fan, and I'm proud, and I don't care. I will rage against all other nerds.
Well, somebody actually, it might have been you, Brandon, that brought up the point that Jar Jar serves the purpose of keeping the little kids entertained while their parents try to
understand
relive
plot.
new Star Wars.
Yeah. He's there for the kid entertainment aspect of it. And the thing is, they say the new 3 are meant for younger audiences. But then why are we...
I swear, if I see Zac Efron in one scene, I'm burning down the movie theaters, and I'm shooting Lucas for selling his company.
But then,
I'm like, I could stand your money-whoring tactics, but they put it into musical form.
Or Justin Bieber. Oh my gosh, I'd kill everybody if Justin Bieber.
And episodes more or less 7, 8, and 9, they're essentially going to be made. Disney has more or less said that.
Oh, they've
J.J.
100%
Abrams confirmed it. Abrams is the director.
Okay,
Abrams is the director. They've got the original 3 signed on.
They're doing
Lucas or Mark Hamill, Ford, and
everybody's like, but they're old. You can't make this movie because they're old. It's like, no, you can make the movies with them being old because 7, 8, and 9, no matter what you do, no matter what canon you take, it's the story of them after they've restored the Republic, and it's going to revolve heavily around their children. Now, if they're going to make Luke have children like they did in so much of the expanded universe, or if it's just going to be Han's children, you're still going to have the young plucky heroes, which are going to be their kids, and then you're going to have the Sovereign, which will be Leia, Han, and Luke.
Honestly, I'm more concerned that Carrie Fisher's not going to be all there.
Carrie Fisher's kind of out of it.
No, she's actually really recovered because...
Well, you would say that, and I would say that, but then, like, a month ago, she was on a cruise and she lost it and jumped into a pool. fully dressed, screaming at people, and
statement retracted.
I'm wondering if we're not.
She was doing good.
She's gonna be comatose for 3 movies.
I know.
I'm
wondering if she's gonna repeat her Christmas episode before.
Oh, she was completely strung out on coke.
She was so strung out.
Well, because after the first one, she had a mental breakdown and she got addicted to cocaine after the first movie. Because she was still actually, she was like in her teens when she did that movie.
Yeah.
What's messed up that I think Lucas had something to do with it, because when she was trying on her Princess Leia outfit, Lucas came in. He's like, "You're wearing underwear?" She goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Like, you gotta wear underwear." He goes, "No, they don't wear underwear in space." So throughout that entire time I saw that, I rewatched the original 3 movies. I'm like, they're all freeballing it.
Honestly, how was that? I've gone all this time and did not know that people do not wear underwear in space.
Well, when you think space, you think infinite vacuum and no sound. You don't think lack of underpants.
In fact, that would make me want to wear underpants even more. Like,
Yeah.
if she's wearing a dress out there,
No gravity.
no gravity. All of a sudden,
They're floating in space. I was like, we gotta go. I was like, he just stops talking. What's wrong? She's like, damn it, pushing her dress down. We gotta go, Chewie. Turn off the gravity when we get in the ship.
It'll be great.
It'll be great. And then Chewie's like, and they like that's like the one time they actually do a translation line saying, "Gonna be hot." They're like, she's a Wookiee from the waist down.
I just got a very dirty walking carpet joke.
Oh, it's bad. Like there's
a podcast.
Well, there was a robot chicken joke where he's like, Han's like, all these years, Chewie, I finally get to meet your family, and they open the door, and all of them are wearing like regular suburbia clothes. And he goes, wait a minute, you mean to tell me all these years you've just been naked around me? And then Chewbacca comes up and he's like, and all, like the translation bar goes, I love you.
There was kind of like that with the Christmas special, because they did, the Grandpa Wookiee, and I can't remember their names.
And they had clothes.
They had clothes. It was a little weird.
And they look at Chewbacca, and he's still naked, and they're like, hello. But he gives that look, but you get the feeling that he's giving you the look of, I got a bandolier on, hello.
This is clothing.
This is my clothing.
But,
I just have to imagine going, what? I'm Harry, what is there to see?
He's like, you're not seeing anything. He's like, by the way, I got 6 nipples.
Did you ever see the episode of Venture Brothers where he shaved Sasquatch?
Yeah, and he put the bandolier on so he looks like a shaved Wookiee.
No, he shaved...
that was another one, but the first time, he's all... Like, he meets Steve Rogers, and they play the old joke of when the Bionic Man fought Sasquatch. Well, all of a sudden he's like, well, the government's chasing us. And he's like, well, why is the government chasing? He goes, because, when I met the Wookiee, He goes, when I met Sasquatch here, I looked into those blue eyes and I fell in love. I couldn't kill him and everything. And he goes, you know what? They when they made me the $6 million man, they wanted me to pay it back. You know what it takes on a government salary? He's like, don't worry, I'll get you out of here. And he rips off Steve Austin's arm and everything, and he he shaves Sasquatch to have like his head's freaking like he's bald, but he's got a little bit of hair right here, so he looks like he's got a cul-de-sac. And he puts the hair on Steve Rogers. He gives him bushy hair and a mustache. And he pulls out and the Sentry, and he dresses him in some of his some of his clothes, and he drives up and he goes, "Hey, yeah, just me and some buddies camping." He goes, "What?" He goes, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Yeah, these are some old war buddies." And he's like, looks like he's just like an old war vet with no more. And he looks back and he goes, "Oh," you see Sasquatch like, "Oh," and he goes, "You count yourself so lucky if you looked half as good as him taking a grenade to the face," or something like that. And then they drive off, and the guy's like, "Bye." He goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, this is Brock Sampson, his friend." He goes, "No, it wasn't. That was Brock Sampson, a shaved Sasquatch, and Steve Rogers covered in Sasquatch hair." And they're driving away.
Yeah. Honestly, I just love when Brock was like, "Oh, so it's a her? No, it's a guy."
Yeah. No. At the end, he goes, "Well, you could have told me, Seth. You could have told me he was a dude before I shaved him."
You should have told him. Should have told me he was a man before I shaved him. He goes, "Sasquatch doesn't have anything you haven't seen before." He goes, "Sasquatch is something I haven't seen before."
It was hilarious. He's fighting Steve Rogers, and or Steve Austin. Sorry, why do you call him Steve Rogers? He's fighting Steve Austin. He rips off his arm, and it hurts. Going
back to the death of Catwoman, we'll end with this.
The first topic.
Yeah, in that Death of Catwoman issue, they fight like a robotic Sasquatch, and I thought it was an homage to the
I noticed that. But the whole fire in the mouth thing, I was like, really?
Yeah, like it shoots fire and stuff. Like the whole Justice League fighting
completely just pawns Martian Manhunter.
It was like one of Ivo's robots, but it was a giant Sasquatch. I was like, why would you build a robot Sasquatch? There's no.
My question is, why wouldn't you build a giant Sasquatch?
Why wouldn't you? That's a good point.
Just saying, all the robotic things you could build, that'd be one of the more fun things to build.
And so what are you going to do? You can build yourself one of those little love bots, maybe an evil Justice League? No, Sasquatch. Yeah, I just gotta build me a Sasquatch. I'll do anything else after, just give me a
Imagine going to someone's house and having a Sasquatch answer the door.
Don't worry, he's a robot. Even worse! Why? Sasquatch is strong. He's stronger. Oh man, Harry and the Hendersons. He comes out and he's just like, and he sees her animatronic one, just fighting pose.
Sasquatch with like the Terminator robot arm.
Oh,
like that's the creepy.
No, it's the Sasquatch from Harry and the Hendersons. He actually looked lovable. He just holds up his arm like Arnold Schwarzenegger does, and he cuts the skin off. You're like, you're something I haven't seen before, and you're showing me more things I haven't seen before. Oh man, but. Yeah, the Death of Catwoman came out of nowhere, and it wasn't covered out. It wasn't treated right, considering how big of a canon character she was. I mean, but at the same time, you kind of figured she was dying because she slept with Batman last year.
Well, that was
the night on the rooftops. And if you ever paid attention, anybody who sleeps with Batman generally dies. Well, that makes you wonder about the Robins.
I was going to say Talia. That was the whole thing with Talia. And when you got into Hush, that was actually one of the problems, was Talia had slept with Batman, and Catwoman in the Hush run, they have their first kiss. And Talia makes a line to Catwoman, she goes, "Oh, you've never been with him."
Yeah.
And it was just like this one-upmanship. Like,
well, yeah, because that was... Well, that was because that's always been the greatest love triangle at DC was Batman with Talia and Catwoman. But at the same, and you see this triangle, you're like, it's great, they're both very strong women, but at the same time, it's like, why does he like criminals?
Well, think about his job. That's the only kind of women he's
That's the only exposure he gets to. Yeah, give it a couple of years, he'd be like, hey, Joker, old pal.
He's Batman. He's kind
you
of
and
got
Harley
some
Quinn still seeing each other.
of what's proper. I mean...
Yeah.
Well, he likes criminals. It'll just give it time. He'll sleep with Poison Ivy in a little bit, and then he'll break up with her because he'll get a mysterious rash. And then he'll be like, "Hey, Joker, you and Harley Quinn still serious?" And then be like, he's like, "My poopsie? You can have my poopsie." But anyway, so let's just go out with a reminder that the Pulp will be out on the 30th. That is, if we get this posted before the 30th.
Not June. This is June. Is it June?
This is June.
July. No, yeah, June 30th.
Yeah.
June 30th.
June 30th. So hopefully we get this posted before then.
Three.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I have to apologize to you from the first episode. I said that don't buy issue 3. It's not going to be any good, especially because of a Western story written by a certain someone. I have to retract that statement. I have some insider news that I won't share. It's going to be a great issue. Buy it. It's wonderful.
His story got into on the last minute.
Yeah, the poem I wrote got put in last minute.
So just buy issue
3 now. Go ahead.
Now it's okay.
Now that you guys have free reign.
Well, you heard it straight from the table. Have a good week.
Listen to a Destiny Comics podcast, recorded in Hemet, California. Show produced by Michael Sanders. A special thanks to any and all guests on this show.